Okay, I just unmuted everybody because I don't know who that was, but we were listening to whatever's going on around you. You guys have the ability to unmute yourselves, or you should have. So if you have a question, feel free to ask it. I have some that I'm going to start with, but if other questions come up, please just let me know. Feel free to unmute yourself and slow me down if I'm going too fast for you guys. This time I dialed in, so hopefully you guys can all hear me okay. I know there was some trouble with the computer audio last time, so just let me know what you need and I will try and get it for you. So there are 17 of you here. The questions that we're going to be looking at, I hope everybody can see them on my screen. First question I had was, can providers set up their own live courses? And you all should be able to see my Zoom. You should be able to see my Relias dashboard right now. Most of the time today I'm going to be in supervisor access level because that's where most of you are. But in order to create live classes as a provider, you must first make yourself an instructor. If you are an instructor, then you have the ability to add a new module. You can add a new live event. You can add content if you want to, or you can just add a live session. So you can have, like, if there's a manual that people need to bring with them, you can have that attached in there. But if not, you can just schedule your sessions. You do not have to use a code. You do have to decide how many credit hours and the title of your event. Okay, so you'll do a description. Oops. And then as you scroll down, once you create your course, you will get a link. You can copy that link and send it to whoever. Anybody that has a Relias account will be able to click on that link and get right to your event so that they can register for it. Again, you have to be set up as an instructor. That's part of your user profile, so you guys should be able to see that in your drop-down if you have been set as an instructor. If you have not been set as an instructor and you need to be, just send us an email. Okay, so you're going to, can there be multiple instructors? As an instructor, when you set this up, you are the only one that can do anything with your course. So if you want to go in and mark it complete, if you haven't added additional instructors, then they won't be able to do that. Only you will be able to do that. So if you're the only one that's going to do it, then all you need to be an instructor is you. But if you have an admin who's going to be marking things complete for you on Relias, then you may want to add them as an instructor as well, just because that gives them the ability to do things with your course. Your completion options are attendance only. If they show up, they get marked complete, then it counts. They have to take a final exam. So, for example, you may want to do a live class and have everybody come in, but then they have to go on Relias and take a final exam. If that's the case, you have the ability to also set your exams. So once you start walking through the setting up the live event, you'll be able to put in your exam so they can then go take it after the class. Or you can say, I want them to show up and do a final exam. So if there are prerequisites, you can put them in there. If you want them to take some Relias courses before they come to your live event, you can require that. Requiring learners to complete content in order, not necessarily. I mean, maybe they can take the test and then come and get the classroom. Maybe they can get the classroom and then take the test. So if you don't care about the order, you can click no. You have the option to allow learners to withdraw or change their session. So that means they could go in and change their scheduled class date. If you're not using an attendance code, you really don't need that. But that's like, you know, when you go to big conferences and you go to a session and they say, okay, the code to get credit for this is whatever. You can set that up if you enter a code, I believe, up here. Do you want them to have to do a course evaluation? Do you want it to be open and available, or do you only want them to be able to see it in a specific date range? Once you have approved it, if you want to allow the learners to self-enroll, check that box. We don't currently have restricted users, so it doesn't matter if you check this box or not. If you're not ready for it to be visible to all of your users, then click no until you're finished. Then you can save it. Oops. And I didn't put in the credit hours, so it really won't let you make too many mistakes. So I go back here and save it. Once you've done that, you can, as I said, you can add content if you want. You can put a lesson in there. You can schedule your sessions. You will need to enter your locations. So if you have a location you need to enter, we can figure that out together. Your exams, because I have not created any content, I cannot create an exam. So you can upload a file. It can be pretty much whatever you want it to be. And I hope you guys are following all my screens as I'm clicking through. So I'm not going to save this, but the answer is yes, as long as you remember to go into instructor mode. As a provider, you can have live events. So now I'm going back up here, and I'm going to look. Does anybody have any? I'm unmuting everybody. Does anybody have any questions so far?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
No.
So the next question, go ahead. We're good? Okay. Going to, let me see where I am. I am going to remute everybody. Again, you have the ability to unmute yourself, so if you have a question, just shout it out. Our next question is, if you want to change the status of an employee from a learner to a supervisor, how do you do that? The answer is you have to send that request form to DDDS because that's something that DDDS has to do. So that was an easy one to answer. Next question, can you change the due dates for items in the learner's training plan? And the answer to that is you should be able to. So let me switch to supervisor, and I'm going to go in here and I'm going to find a user. And let's see, I'll just use myself since I know how to fix that. Click on your the blue book next to the person's name in your list. You'll see the courses that they have assigned to them. You also have a, let me make this a little smaller so you can see it. Okay, so you see all the courses that they have assigned to them. And if you want to, you can check one. So I want bloodborne pathogens. Check the box. Go up here and click on change the due date. It will ask you when do you want the course to be available. So if you want them to be able to see it right now, you can just, I believe if you leave that blank, then it'll just be available right now. Pick the due date that you want them to have. I will caution you, just because you change the due date doesn't mean that they're going to be in compliance with DDDS requirements. For those of you that haven't heard, SIE, the Service Integrity and Enhancement, has agreed to extend the grace period for electronic training until the end of June. So if they come out and look at your programs and evaluate whether or not you're in training compliance, they may note it, but they're not going to cite you for it until July 1st. July 1st is when they'll go back to citing. So if DDDS has set the requirement that within 30 days of hire you must have XYZ, and you assign it to the person and they don't get it done, so you want to come in here and change the due date so it doesn't mess up your reports, that still does not make them in compliance with their training. So you can say When are they going to be able to take the test? Are they going to be able to take that right now? Do they have to wait? Do I want to unlock that for them manually after they tell me they've finished the course? Most of the time I just choose right now because it's easier. Yeah, blank availability date makes the course available immediately. So if you don't put anything in this field up here, then it will just be available. You can choose the due date, so I want it to be done at the end of the month. And then if you hit save, it will change the due dates and make that course available to the learner. So that is how you can change due dates. Is everybody with me so far?
I have a question. Let's see, Seattle.
Go ahead.
So for sure learners, right? Can we change the due date? Like if an employee is working with Mosaic and they set up a due date for like March 31st, and our due date is February 24th. Like we have had a little issue with that. What do we do?
You can back up the due date. You cannot push it forward and make someone else be out of compliance.
Right, but our due date was the 24th, February 24th, and she works with Mosaic too, and their due date was the 31st, March 31st. So she was going by Mosaic's due. Like, how do we do that?
You go into the shared learners and you back up their due date to be what you want it to be. And that's always going to be something with shared learners is they have to stay in compliance with all of the organizations that they work for.
Right.
So it is and you need them to finish February 24th in order to stay in compliance with you. Even though Mosaic doesn't require it until a couple months later, it's okay for you to go and back up that due date. What's going to happen is that somebody's going to come and work for you and they're going to get assigned training by you, and somebody's going to go get a job with another organization and be assigned training by that organization. And what might happen is on their training list, they'll see all the courses listed twice, and that will confuse them. Okay. But once they finish one of those courses, it should take all of them off of their list. So if I was assigned the DDDS policy reviews from Organization A, and then I go get another job and Organization B assigns me the same ones, I may see them twice on my list, but as soon as I finish the DDDS policy review on abuse, it's going to complete the one I finished, and it's going to remove the other one from my training list. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and so another thing, so if we change the due date, can Mosaic go back in there and change it to theirs too? Like once we change it to our due date?
You guys could keep going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, or we could all understand that for the shared learners, we're going to have to work together and make sure that everybody is in compliance. Okay. And the thing is, if they do them early, they're still in compliance. But if they do them late, then they're not in compliance. So it makes back them up to the earliest due date so that they can finish it. Because if they're in compliance with you, then they're definitely in compliance with somebody else. You know what I mean?
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. What about?
But Josephine doesn't get to make those calls without, that's something we need to be having a discussion on.
I have a question.
Okay.
This is Tracy from Mosaic. So I just want to know who that staff person is.
Josephine would like to.
All right, say that again, Tracy.
I just wanted to know who the staff person was, so we would be aware. Not to change the due date back to the 31st.
No, I was just giving an example. Just an example.
Oh, so it's not, okay.
No.
All right.
Just an example.
And if that's a problem, anyone can call either Monica or myself at Mosaic.
Yeah, ask them.
Okay.
Yeah, or you can get in touch with DDDS and we can help you connect with the other organization and help you guys work it out. So either way.
Leslie?
Okay. Yes.
It's Dinah, Salvation Army. I had a question. I assigned a new hire the DVS policy review, and she came in for orientation and was doing that. But the funny thing was, it wasn't going to be available. I assigned it that day, and it wasn't going to be available to her for 2 weeks. So the 29th. And now I was able to go ahead and change that, but why is that if you assign it, why isn't it available right away if it's a new person?
It may be because I don't have the settings right on that training plan, so I will take a look at that. Because that's not the first time that I've heard it, and I'm not the only one that has access to that, the ability to change the training plan, so I don't know if other people are in there doing stuff and I'm just not aware of it, or if something happens when Relias does an update. But anytime you guys run into a problem like that, if you can, go ahead. As long as they're not too far. Yes, sir.
Sorry, didn't want to interrupt there. It's still doing it on the pre-service annual research one. Maybe you can show them the button that they can click so it doesn't do it.
Pandemics. Our flu pandemic preparedness plan was a plan. Now we're seeing where we have to.
Everybody in, but again, you have the ability to unmute yourselves if you want to ask a question or something like that. So let me go back to my view for a minute, and we will change it on the fly. So this is our pre-service and annual, and the schedule it's recurring, it is fixed to a specific date. It closes at the end of the year. It is based on the user's hire date. There's all the stuff that's in it. It should be available 60 days prior to the due date, and because it's available 60 days after somebody is hired, we'll make it 61. And save that and see if that fixes it. If it doesn't fix it, please just keep letting me know, because stuff happens. So, okay, back into supervisor mode. Unmuting everybody.
Our older
Is
generation.
everybody with me so far?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Support them in social contacting through videos and other Skype.
There we go. The next question is, how do I make a supervisor's account receive the email reminders alerting them when learners are overdue with their lessons? So in order to do that, you have to have your hierarchy set up in the right way. Can you all see my screen, the hierarchy screen? I guess I should unmute you when I ask a question, huh?
Other countries will learn from us about how to really
screen now.
Way. I hope it's very true the next year when we have our where we can really have a very different profile that we have during flu that we never talk about anywhere.
Okay. So in order to have your supervisors, managers, whatever, receive the notices for staff when their training is coming due or when it's overdue, you need to have your hierarchy set up. And I'm going to show you Chimes because I just helped them do this not too long ago. So in their residential services, they have all of these levels set up. And at each level, you can have one supervisor assigned to receive the emails for everybody in that hierarchy level. So, for example, each one of these program coordinators are receiving the emails for their program. I can have a supervisor in residential overall that will receive copies of all of these warning emails. and then I can have somebody set up here in this level as the administrator that's going to receive emails for every level below that. In their vocational department, they kind of did the same thing. So they have vocational program coordinators. They have 4 program coordinators, so each one receives the emails for everybody that's in their hierarchy level, and then the person above them receives everything above that, and then the person above them receives everything above that. So short answer is, all you have to do is tell me who wants to receive them. If it's just one person, that's easy setup. If you would like different levels of people to be able to see them, for example, your house managers to be able to see for the people in the house, and your program coordinator to be able to see for all of the house managers and all of the people in the houses, and your training director to be able to receive all the email notices that the program coordinator, the house managers, and all the staff also get. So that's really up to you guys. I'm happy to set that up for you. I believe you can set it up within your own organization, but if you want some help with that, just holler at me, or don't holler at me, send me an email request, or give me a call, and we can work that out however you want that to be. So the day that Relias has set for the whole DDDS system's email day is Tuesday. So every Wednesday morning when you come in, you will have one email. It's not you get a separate email for every course. You'll have one email that lists all of the people who have trainings that are coming due or that are overdue, and then you'll see that the course that they need to complete and the date that it was due. So I think I had one, and I might have deleted it. So let me see if I can find you one just to give you an example of what the...
Leslie, while you're doing that, I have it all set up, but I'm still not getting the emails. Neither are the supervisors.
Okay. You should be, but we will check that out. I'm making notes of things I need to check out, so...
And just so everyone knows, if you want to unmute yourself, just ask a question. You can hold down the space bar. It unmutes you, and as soon as you let go of the space bar, it mutes you again.
How cool is that? I didn't know that. Okay, I'm looking for the email. Bear with me 1 second. And while I'm looking for the email, I have had a couple of people ask me the question about, are we going to be doing classes in person still, or are we going to be doing them remotely, or how are we going to be doing them? And the answer is we have not received any instruction yet as to, you know, what we're supposed to do about in-person classes. The last instruction we got was that in-person classes will be held as scheduled, but I do know that they're looking at putting the LAM online for people through Zoom, and I know that they are talking about other courses, but we really were not set up to deliver other courses online, so there's some stuff that we're going to have to do and put in order before we'll be able to do that. I do know that the division is working on, they're working on some guidance for you all, and there's going to be emails coming out, so looking.
Hi, Leslie. It's Carolyn. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Quick question. Does Relias send emails to the learners when they have courses that are coming up due or overdue?
The trick to that is they have to have a live email in the system in order to get emails from the system.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of providers did not put live emails. I can't find my report right now, but I'll keep looking for it, and I'll send it along to you guys when I lay my hands on it. Ask me your question again. Yes, learners should be getting those
reminders.
We have them set. Now, again, what happens is that I go in and I look at the form letter that goes out and I check the box that says it is approved to go out, so it should be going out. But if somebody else goes in and unchecks that box, then they may not be going out. And again, I'm not the only person with access, so in theory, yes, they should be getting them. So let me go back and check and see if, I'm pretty sure that all of that should be going out. See, training alert for learners, and yes, it is approved, so they should be getting that when they have incomplete courses that are past their due date. Now, I don't know that every
coming up due, like they're due in like a week or so. Do they get reminders?
They should. And I'll have to go look again because I don't want to tell you the wrong thing, but they should be set. What I was told is that when they're coming due, like a month before they're due, they'll get one reminder, and then a week before they're due, they'll get a reminder every day for that 5 days before it's due, just to kind of prod them to go in there and finish it up. And those are the same ones that supervisors should be getting if we have set up the hierarchy correctly and designated the supervisors to get them. Some people, when they see those Relias emails, they think it's just a marketing thing, and so maybe they delete them and they don't even look at them. So it's important, if your learners do have live emails, to tell them to read the email that they get from Relias. Your supervisors all have to have a live email in order to have supervisor access. So if we set up your hierarchy again and designate the person who's supposed to be getting the emails, that should, at least the supervisor should be getting the emails for all the people under them in their hierarchy level. So long answer was yes. They should be getting them, and if they're not, let me know who they are, and if they have a live email, we can test that, and if it's not working, we can fix it.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else have questions before I go on to the next question? Okay. Then the last question we had is tips on how to run lesson completion reports for shared learners more easily to see just your organization. So let me show you, first of all, and I may have to click on a couple of different users, so help me out here, or just bear with me. So I'm going to go look at the shared learners, and you know your user list, you can filter by any of these qualities. So we're going to look at the shared learners because I want to show you how they're set up first, and then I'll show you how the reports are going to function off of that. Okay, so we have a whole bunch of shared learners, and let me just pick one. I hope this person is set up the right way. And I'm still waiting. There we go. Can you all see that screen? I hope. Okay, so what we have done for shared learners is under their organization, when I get a share request, I put both organizations that they work for there, and then in the hierarchy, they're in shared learners. Now, what I should be doing, and what I'm trying to remember to do, is also to put those employers, let me just make sure I'm putting, this is Bancroft and Chimes. Okay, so in custom field 1, we have set up all the providers, so I'm going to choose provider number 1, and then I'm going to choose provider number 2 in the custom fields 1 and 2, and I should be putting hire dates for both organizations in the comments section because that's what SIE has requested we do. So as I come across people that are shared, I have been doing that, but not everybody's set up like that because in the very beginning, I didn't know about that. So anyway, so we're using custom field 1 and custom field 2 to indicate the other employers. So let me save this. Okay, so when I go to reports, let me get to be a supervisor first, and I go to reports, and I'm waiting. Sometimes I have to switch back and forth between Microsoft Edge and Internet Explorer in order to get all the features that I want to get. So let me just log on over here. Just bear with me one more minute. And as soon as I get logged on, I will share this screen with you, hopefully. Okay. So now you should be able to see my dashboard again, everybody?
Yep.
Yes? No? Okay. Okay, so I'm going to switch to supervisor access level because that's what your view will look like. I'm going to go to reports and cross my fingers that this opens. And sometimes with reports you have to wait a little while. So I'm going to choose module enrollments and completions, and then I'm looking for the course completion history. It's the only one with this little green graph next to it, so it's real easy to find in the list. I'm going to look at whatever hierarchy I just chose. I'll use Chimes again because they'll have a nice meaty report. If you just want to look at a specific training plan, I want to say, okay, I want to look and see if everybody did their pre-service and annual because that's what they're required to do. I'm going to go find that. I'm going to add it to my list. So
Leslie,
if you don't,
shouldn't you have the hierarchy as shared learning?
I should have both. Good point. Thank you, John.
Welcome.
So, okay, I'm going to choose Chimes. I'm going to choose shared learners, both of them. If I want the report for Chimes, I'm going to choose both. I'm going to report only on this training plan. If you leave this blank, it will give you all the training plans. If you want to just do a specific module, also known as a single lesson or a single course, you can just choose that one. So if you want to just use specific user attributes, like if you have people broken up into departments and you only want to look at one department or you only want to look at one location, you can choose all of that from here. Here is where that custom field 1 and 2 come into play. Because I can never really tell for an individual user while I'm running this report if my employer name is in custom field number 1 or if it's in custom field number 2, I'm just going to enter my employer name in both of these fields. Theoretically, that should give you all of the Chimes learners plus all of the people who have Chimes entered in custom field 1 and all of the people who have Chimes entered in custom field 2. So if we run into somebody who has more than 3 employers, then it might be a problem, but I think for now this is going to get us where we need to be.
Leslie, sorry to interrupt again. You have to choose the correct custom field. If you put Chimes in both of them, it will only pick employees that have Chimes in both custom fields.
Oh, well that sucks. All right, well that's a sticky wicket.
So you had put custom Chimes in custom field 2, so if you just delete the custom field 1, it will work.
But what if I'm running a report on everybody? That means, all right, well, we'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, so report output, what do you want to look at? Do you want to look at the stuff that's not completed? Do you want to look at the stuff that they did complete? Do you want to look at all of it? You can run it on all the learners in these hierarchy levels, or you can run it on an individual learner. And if you want to run it on an individual learner, you have to go find that learner. Let me go find that learner. And yes, you're probably going to see every single learner. There she, oops, wrong one. Okay. If you want to know how many hours they spend in training, you can check that box to include the number of credit hours in the report. If you want to look at a date range, you can also show modules with no due date. So if they signed up for an elective, if they assigned themselves a course on Relias that wasn't part of a training plan that you assigned, it may not have a due date. So if you just want to see everything they've been doing, you can check that box. What I have been doing so far is just to choose this year. Because we're all brand new, we don't really have any data from last year, so if I choose this year, that's pretty safe. When I do the reporting for the compliance, it will be quarterly, so I will choose the date range that is the last quarter that we completed. And then, if you want to save your report so that you're pretty sure you have all the parameters that you want to have, you can save it so that you'll always be able to just click a button and run this report. If you don't want to save it, you can just run it. And as I'm sure all of you know, when DDDS signs up with a vendor, a product, we typically don't use it the way that it's intended to be used. For example, this Relias is intended to exist in one organization, and we have set it up so we have us and then all of the organizations below us. So, okay, let's go back to reports and do the whole agency. So I'm going to look at chimes. Oops. And I'm going to look at shared learners. And I got to think about that, John. I didn't know that, so now I'm wondering.
Yeah, I've been playing around with it a lot. It definitely, you have to know what custom field your agency is in.
Okay. So I want all my DSPs.
And I actually think it's easier to run just the shared learner department, not to include the agency.
So leave out chimes.
Yeah, it means everyone has to run a report on their agency plus shared learners, but I found when you try to include the agency, it doesn't give the correct.
Okay. And I will admit to all of you that I have not had a lot of time to mess around with the reports, even though I'm going to have one due the first week in April. So if you have learned something about reports that you want to share with all of us, please feel free. So I'm going to look at everybody. I'm going to look at not completed. And I'm going to choose this year. And I'm going to run it and cross my fingers. And I hope that you guys are seeing all this stuff that I'm doing. I never know when I have to reshare my screen if I'm in the same program. So if you guys are not seeing something, if it looks like I'm just talking, I don't know what I'm talking about, or I'm talking about something you're not seeing, please let me know that. All right, so we are looking now at shared learners. We have quite a few who are not in compliance. So I want to look at the assigned completions percentage in shared learners, or maybe I don't. So again, this is another one that I'm going to have to mess around with.
Can you scroll down to the data section?
I can. So this is showing me the learner's name, their job title, the course, whether or not it was started, the date that it's due, and if they were completed, it would be here, but I chose not completed, so it's not there.
Leslie, all the way up at the top of the screen, if you hit return to filters, you don't have to redo. See where it says edit filters?
Yeah.
It takes you back to the same report, and all you have to do is change whatever you want to change.
Excellent tip. Thank you very much. You can also download your reports if you want. And I really would encourage you guys to fool around with this. I mean, I'm going to have to take some time and sit down and really get to know the reports.
If you go back and hit edit filters and put chimes in the custom field 2, it will bring up the one person you selected.
Put chimes in the custom field 2. We hope it'll bring up that one person I selected.
Well, it will bring up any shared learners that chimes is in custom field 2 for.
See, and that's why I was choosing chimes for both fields, because if it would bring all the learners that have 1 and 2.
But it excludes people that only have it in 1.
As we are seeing here.
And that doesn't make sense.
All right, so I'm going to have to mess around with the reports. We're looking at how to use the fields that we have available. I thought that was our solution, but apparently it's not, so we're going to have to think about shared learners some more. But yeah, there's no reason why you can't go in and run a shared learner report and then just run an agency report and see what happens. And let me know what you think, because I've not had a lot of time to get to know reports. I've spent a lot of time setting up and assigning and all that kind of stuff, and I'm not finished with any of that either. So let's see, pick chimes. We'll just pick them all. What happens if I don't put anything in there? Let's see. So what I'm doing right now, this is what I encourage you guys to do, mess around with the reports. If you find one that you think gets at exactly what you want to look at, then let me know so that I can share that with everybody else. There we go. So there's some data, and it's given us the top 20. So you see here the top 20 or the bottom 20. So if that's what our top 20 look like, wow, let's look at the bottom 20. Now, when you guys look at this, you'll be looking at it for just your organization plus shared learners if you decide to run the shared learner report. So the completions, they have a lot that are not complete. And a lot of what I have found that is overdue right now is that Welcome to Relias and the gamification piece. So if that's the case, if that's the only thing that's dragging down your report average, let me know, because we can fix that. So when you run your report, you can export it. You have a few more options than you used to have in CDS. So I am extracting the report, and I'm going to open it. And then I'm going to show it to you guys. And you guys are looking at the Excel file now? Oops. Oh, no. Okay, now you should be looking at the Excel file with me, the course completion history. Everybody seeing that? Very quiet. Okay, I'm unmuting everyone.
Yes.
See it.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, now you did it again. It's very lonely here talking to myself. So down here again, you export it, you can sort it, you can do what you need to do with it. You can look at due dates. As I said, a lot of this stuff is the Welcome to Relias stuff that you know, people aren't finishing. And somebody asked me one time, if those 2 courses are not completed, is it going to count against your compliance? They are assigned and they will show up as overdue on your reports, but we don't consider them, DDDS does not consider them necessary for compliance. So if you have somebody who really doesn't want to do them, just let us know and we can mark them complete. I really encourage people to go through the course, though. It doesn't take that long, and it really helps you out figuring out how to navigate. Okay, so that is reports. Why does my screen sharing keep stopping? I'm in the meeting. All right, you guys, I lost you.
Audio is still on.
My audio is still on, but I lost you on my screen. This is really weird.
While you're doing that, Leslie, I just ran a shared learners report with the custom field for CIS, and it worked perfectly.
Okay. So we have to know which field it's in?
Yes.
Okay, so then we need to do that alphabetically, right?
That's what I've been doing. If you want to do one for CIS, that would show everyone.
Okay, let's do that. And you guys are currently looking at my report screen, I hope. So we're doing CIS, let's see.
No, just shared learners.
Oh, just shared learners for CIS. I gotcha. There they are. And custom field 1?
Yes. I was selfish. I put all my people in one.
No, that's fine. That might end up being changed, though.
I know.
Okay, so I'm doing completed, I'm doing all learners, I'm doing this year. And then I'm running the report. And crossing my fingers.
I just did it and it ran okay. I have 2 people with CIS shared with other agencies and they both came up.
All right, and they're both.
And look, they're all done.
That's awesome. So, you know those graphs that Greg used to send you guys? These are them. So anytime you want to see what your graph looks like, just go in there and run this report. You can download your graph as well. So when you download your graph, it'll look like that. So you'll have a picture of it. You can put it into a document or whatever. And go back to the report screen. And there you can see the folks, the 2 people, right? What they
We're
did.
We're still on your paint.
Uh-oh. Okay. Then I want you to be here. How's that? You looking at reports now? Okay. Very good. You watching me scroll up and down? Important when you guys are doing things on here to look for these, you know, scroll bars and stuff like that, because I think a lot of people just look at the screen and go, hey, there's nothing on there that I need, but if you just move it over, you'll see what you need. For example, the due dates, you know, do they match up? Did the person get them done early? Did they do them late, but they're completed anyway? Do I need to talk to this person about completing them late? So,
if you hit the date, sorry, if you hit the date due column, it will put them in order of date due.
If this date due column?
If you have incompleted lessons, it's going to put them in date order. That works on the user screen too. If they're having trouble finding a lesson, if they just hit the date due, it will put them in order.
That's pretty cool. So now you know who you need to go after and when. Thank you for that, John. I appreciate that.
I've spent a lot of nights playing with these reports.
Well, that's good because I've been doing other stuff, so. And as I said, anytime you guys learn something that you want to share, I'm very appreciative to hear from you guys so that I can share it with everybody else. As you know, we're going to have to figure out some workarounds and that kind of thing, so, and that's one of them. That's probably the biggest one. Now we're accidentally going to Relias Connect. That's probably the biggest one is how we're going to manage the shared users. We have to figure that out.
We're all going to have a lot of time to figure this out.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. As I said, we've not received any direction yet, but everybody's asking questions about how do we do things online, so I'm thinking it's coming. But it hasn't gotten here yet, so. Okay, so those were the questions that I received ahead of time. Do you guys have any questions? I'm unmuting everyone. Do you guys have any other questions?
Yes, I have a question. This is Tracy.
Ask your doctor about an advancement in prescription therapies.
Are you able to sign up a group of people for new hire classes at once?
I started my health journey at 41. I didn't realize 40 was so life-changing.
Thank you for the TV, though. I appreciate that. So if we are doing a live event and you want to sign up a group of people, we're going to find the live events. Let's see, I want to sign a bunch of people up for trauma-informed support. I'm going to do an experiment here. So
You should have clicked on the little green guy.
I should have clicked on the little green guy. I'm not used to enrolling people, so I always click on the build screen instead of the enrollment screen. Okay, are you guys seeing my screen still? Okay.
Yes.
I'm gonna click on the green guy because that's how you enroll people. And hopefully, there we go. Same thing. Oh, because I have to select a session first. So let's go back here and select a session. And wait a little while. There we go. So all of these filters that you have here are from the user profile. So if I wanted to sign up everybody in Autism Delaware.
You have to switch from currently enrolled to enrollment.
Dang, John. Thank you. As you can tell, I don't very often enroll people in stuff. Okay, so again, the filters that are associated with the user profile. So if I just wanted to do all of the DSPs, then I could do them as a group. So Tracy, if you have them all coded the way that you want them, you could sign up all your DSPs just by clicking the button at the top. And that would enroll everybody, but we're not going to enroll everybody.
You have to hit the enroll button after you click them.
Yeah, I didn't want to enroll everybody.
I'm just not sure everyone saw it light up.
Okay, thank you again. So I can do it by user role. If I want all my supervisors to show up, all my supervisors who are DSPs, who are coded that way, so I could just, again, click the button at the top and enroll everybody. Or I can enroll them and record their attendance. So that's how we complete a course after people come here. Because registration is on Relias, we just go in, check the box, and everybody's completed. So if I just want to see everybody in my organization, take off all these filters, and it'll show me everybody. Everybody I have access to.
And you not only can hit the select all, you can just check individual boxes if you just want some people on that list to get it.
Right. So I can pick all my DSPs, and then I can just go down the list and choose who I want, and then enroll them that way. So, Tracy, does that answer your question? Yes, you can. You just have to sort them out right.
Is that the same thing for the other courses? The other training plans?
Yes, you can do the same thing in the training plans or the module list.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of Relias is the same, just, different areas, but they look the same. So when you're enrolling in training plans, again, you're going to have to click the green guide, not the title. And then wait a minute. I think all the people in charge of keeping things running are probably working from home too. Okay, so same kind of thing. It defaults to currently enrolled, which I forgot. Thank you, John. So you're going to click on the enrollment, and again, you can filter out the people you want based on the user profile attributes. So if I want, and look at the user category and the user roles, so I want only my supervisors who are also DSP managers, because not everybody who's a Relias supervisor is a manager. And maybe I only want those folks from Bancroft. I don't know if I have anybody in Bancroft that meets that criteria. But anytime you want to remove a criteria, you can.
Also, it's important up at the enrollment availability up at the top there to make sure they have availability immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Often the other box is checked so that they won't get it for 60 days.
And
You
that's
don't,
probably
the pre-service one is like that.
right. Okay, and that's the one I have to go and look at and make sure that all the settings are right. So yes, you can enroll in chunks of people if you want to. So this is the training plan, community-based day services, so I can pick out all my day services DSPs depending on how I have people coded. We did not tell anybody what department or what user location they needed to set up, so you guys are free to use those categories however it makes sense for your organization. Some people want to set them up by location, so I can pull this house and that house and have them get training. Some people prefer to do it by region or geography, or, if you're working in Newcastle, it's this, and if you're working in Kent, it's that. So the location, the departments, you guys can set those up. If you need help setting those up, just send an email. If we get to a place where we are working from home, what will happen is I will change the email that receives help requests to my email, because I can't read the OPD email from my house. I can only do that from my desk. But that's a behind-the-scenes thing. Nobody will even notice any change, and I will just be responding to the emails myself. Any other questions that I can answer for anybody? How do I want to...
How do you, can you hear me? This is Norma from Bancroft. How do you add, like we've had staff already January, February, and into March doing MANT, CPR, LAM. I tried to put that information in. I know this is supposed to be user-friendly for the staff too to do this. However, depending on them to put in the live event class that they've completed, I have all these certificates with me. I've been hoarding them because I want to put this information in as they take it. And I tried doing this the other day, and it did not allow me to do that.
Okay.
Somebody as an example?
I'm sorry?
Can I give you a staff as an example?
Sure.
And for the same staff that I'm going to give you, I have questions about his information on Relias, because it looks like for whatever reason the lessons kept duplicating and duplicating. So he's got a whole bunch in there that are the same.
Okay.
All right. His last name, I'll give it to you. It's Rolugo, because I cannot pronounce his first name. R-O-L-U-G-A for Bancroft.
Okay.
First name, it looks like it's Alawada Malari. Yeah, there you go.
Gotcha. Okay.
So,
I'm going to look at the user profile first.
yep.
Make sure everything's coded the way that it's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to take a minute to show up.
Sure.
Name. So here's the field, this email, where if people are going to get emails from the system, that has to be a live, correct email address.
Right.
He is coded correctly. He is exempt, but you guys can't see that, so hold on a second. I'm sorry, tell me his name again.
Alawada Malari. Last name is Roluga, Roluga.
Okay. I wrote it down so I won't forget it again.
Thank you.
So I'll show you guys what my view of the user profile looks like.
I don't know. It just seems like when he finished a lesson, maybe didn't look at the date, and he kept getting the same thing. I think he has HIPAA in there like 4 times. Like it just kept producing the same module.
Well, and like I said, and that's odd because he's only working for you. I mean, he's only showing one agency in his profile, so it's not like there's a couple of different agencies assigning stuff to him.
Yeah.
Leslie, it's Donna from Passivant. Every time somebody finishes a module, it shows up as due again the next year.
Right, and that's because that one particular module is set that way. To be assigned every year based on their hire date. So when they finish it, it'll assign again but be in the background and not available to them until next year when they get closer to their date. Because we don't want you to say, I finished my training for this year and then make it available tomorrow and then you finish it again for next year, which means you're going a very long time without your refresher.
Some of them are doing that. They're showing up as due again, and the staff are redoing them, and then they show up as due again 2 years from now.
Okay. Please tell your staff not to do them twice in the same year, and if there's a problem with...
Can you log in as him?
Yes,
I can't. Like
Any supervisor can hit that login as the person button and see what the user's seeing.
Okay.
And wait a while for it to populate.
Yeah, because I kind of like wanted to see how he sees it.
Okay, here's how he sees it.
Okay.
So if he wants to see everything that's assigned to him, he can click on this.
Okay.
Okay. Now, if he has stuff that's not due until 2021, it is not available right now, but it is assigned to him, so he will know when he looks at his list, oh, I have that to do next year. And as it gets closer, it will become available. On February 17th, he will have 30 days plus 2 to do it. So it'll become available when it's going to be due. Now, these should not be
Can you
available.
view it like a supervisor? Can you view it like, because it shows his, like when I look at it, it shows duplicates and triplicates of like HIPAA. And he even, I think, took it several times, and I don't think he paid attention to the date, of course, but for whatever reason, it made him or allowed him to keep doing it.
Leslie, someone must be hitting the available immediate button.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all working on this, so it's a work in progress. I get it, but it's a little confusing to me because I'm still learning too, and I don't know how else to fix the situation. But I did notice the date, and I said not to touch it anymore because he took it like 3 times.
Yeah, and please, everybody, tell your learners not to repeat a course like within a couple of days of the last time they did it. That we don't want them to do that. If there's a problem, they should report that to you or to DDDS so that we can get it fixed. So I want to see what's going on with this guy. I'm going to click on the book.
Yeah.
That's going to show me his transcript. And that's going to show me what he's completed. And see, I'm not seeing that he's completed stuff twice.
I'm
He
wondering.
did pathogens, but it's not. It's now sitting in his going to be due, but it's not going to be available until February of next year.
That's interesting. Oh, wait,
Those
wait.
others will not be available to him right now either. So
It's not showing the duplicated.
right, and
wait,
what will happen if it
just-
gets assigned twice, it'll show twice until you finish one of the courses, and then it'll take them both off. So if I went in and assigned him the pre-service and annual training plan again, it would show up as he's got bloodborne pathogens on there twice. But then if he went and finished one, it would take them both off the list. Now this one is looking into the future, this particular one, and that's how the DDDS stuff should look. Because
there's one lesson, the one that says choice making people, for people with it. He came in the office on Monday. You see it says 316. He started it, but then for whatever reason, he couldn't go back in. And you see on the bottom where it says abuse, assault, you see how it's 1, 2, 3. It's like several times. He has abuse, assault, once, twice, 3, 4, 5 times. Like, I don't know what happened there. Do you see that? And then policy abuse, like, and then HIPAA, he's got it multiple times. I see the one for 2021. And rights complaint, like it just kept duplicating. So I don't know how that happened or what he was doing.
But he completed all of them, right?
I know. I said, stop doing it.
Yeah, really, because this is new for everyone, people should not be doing that, and you should tell your learners they don't have to do a course 5 times. If they complete it and it pops up again due for them, they should be talking to somebody about that.
But wouldn't the parameters be like once they've completed it for now, like they're supposed to, wouldn't the parameters for 2021 be in place so they cannot do it and wait for next year? Like, wouldn't that be the right way to do it?
Like all of these should not have been available to him until next year once he finished the first one. So, but I wrote that down on my list of things to check is the way the dates are set up on that particular training plan. So I will take a look at the rest of them as well. Where we are headed with this, very soon this whole thing is going to be automated based on the user category. So when I go back and I look at a user in their profile, and I wait a while. Do you guys have to wait like that when you're in Relias?
A little bit.
Just let me skip over to answer the question about how do you make somebody a supervisor. You send us an email, we check the box. That's all that there is to it. So it's really not that difficult. So the user, where are we at? The user categories. I have one of the things on my list of things to do is to create more of these so we can be a little bit more specific. So rather than just DSP, you would be DSP day or DSP residential or DSP community-based. So we would have more user categories. We can attach the training plans to the user category so that theoretically when you create a user that has a particular user category, the system will go, oh, look, okay, there's one of those kind of people, so I need to attach all these trainings to that person. So it will be automated. We just have to get there. I'm working very hard to get us there, but, you know, stuff happens, so.
Yeah. And can we go back to that young man? How do we add trainings that were taken already? Because I have a MANT certificate in front of me. I had him do LAM. I'm trying to make sure those dates are in there for live classes.
If
And I tried doing that.
If he took a live event through DDDS, you should not have to enter anything, because when we do the sign-in sheet, when we process it, it will show up on their transcript as completed.
And it would show the date on there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because he took a class, but he took it with one of our certified MANT trainers here in the office. Like he took, like our trainer went to DDDS, was certified, and she holds classes here in Bancroft, but it is the MANT system. So I have a certificate in front of me. I just wanted to know how to put that in there. Same thing with meds.
So you're going to go to licenses and certificates in the user list.
Okay.
And then you're going to find your person. And then you're going to click the Add button.
Okay.
Okay, so you can add a license or certification. So for MANT, they got a certificate, right?
Right, I have it in front of me. He took.
So you're going to choose their professional role as general staff other, unless they have one of these other professional roles that it would apply to.
Staff is good.
That we have requested two additional categories for social work professionals, because what's available there now is only clinical. You're going to choose your state.
Okay.
You are going to choose.
I think it was. I know somebody sent something that said general staff, which was fine.
Yeah. Okay, so the total hours they spent in
He did
class.
the 2 day. He did the
Right,
2
so
days.
12 hours. Their renewal period is 12 months. How far out from their due date do you want to send them the reminder? I would suggest 12 weeks. If they have a license number, their next renewal date may be, like if they took it last month, their renewal date might be the last day of the month in which they were certified, so they have to be done by February 29th of, sorry, wrong year.
Like I have a student ID. I have a student MANT ID that is on the certificate, but we don't have to put the word MANT in there to identify that specific training. The system's going to know automatically 12 hours, like that this was MANT.
No, that's why I had to enter it.
Because I remember someone sent something and it said to put MANT hyphen research, or just put MANT and then the amount of hours. So I tried to do that, and it wouldn't. That one field where it says total hours required turned red for me. Everything else I was okay to do it and get a reminder like 8 weeks or 12 weeks. I even put the student MANT ID where it says professional number. But when I went to do the total hours required, the word MANT with the hyphen, it wouldn't let me do that.
Yeah, because it doesn't recognize anything in there but numbers. So I'm not going to save this on this person because.
Okay. Yep.
But let me go pull myself up, because I don't mind if I mess up my transcript. So I am in licenses and certifications.
Yeah, when I sent the question to the DDDS about that, somebody sent me like how to do for MANT, and it had the hyphen, it said for research, and it told me the number of hours. So I tried to put it exactly the way it was sent to me, and it just didn't let me do that. So, okay.
Leslie, the only way I've been being able to get it to do it is you have to go in and do a live class, put them in the live class, and then mark them as complete. And then it will show up on their transcript. Here, because it doesn't have MANT or LAM or CPR listed in the license drop-down, unless they can add it to there.
So you can do an attendance thing, but yes, you have to have your live events already scheduled. So as a supervisor, let's get back to there. I'm sorry, not as a supervisor, as an instructor. So let me fix that. And again, if you want somebody in your organization to be coded as an instructor, all they need to do is say, I want to be an instructor, and we'll check the box on their profile, and then they will have the ability to do this. So I can create a new module, and it's going to be a live event. And I'm going to hit continue. Don't need a code. It was 12 hours, so maybe this is Bancroft Mant. Okay, so then I can figure out, you know, what am I going to do? Am I going to do attendance only to complete, or do they have to take a final exam? If you're going to choose that, the exam really should be online. So are there prerequisites for LAM? There are not. This really doesn't matter for a single event. Allow the learner to withdraw. Yes, we want to do that. Course evaluation required if you want them to do. They can print a certificate if you upload one. They can just have course completion, or no, they don't have to figure out an evaluation. They don't have to tell you. You can make it available just for a specific period of time, or you can leave it open. And maybe your notes here are Bancroft trained in February 2020.
Like even CPR, like if that's not a live event with DDDS. So if we have Red Cross, American Heart Association, or whatever, same thing. Like how would I get that in there to show that they?
Telling you, you can do that with CPR as well. So instead of Bancroft Mant, maybe it's going to be Bancroft CPR.
Oh, okay. Did it tag it for you? I'm sorry, you just didn't enter it, right? You didn't save it?
Right, I didn't save anything. But when you do this, and this you can do before the event, or you can do this after event in order to just create the item that you can put on their transcript. So if you already had the class, maybe I'm going to save and go to enrollment. And then I'm going to wait a while.
The system's very quick at 4 a.m.
I'm sure.
I should get up at 4. I got
So
lots
if I want to manage my event, okay, I can go in here and I can find all the learners and I can tell them what's going on. I can unenroll them. I can change the date. I can switch the session. If you have already taught the class, go to the enrollment.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry. This is your dates. You're going to have to establish it first and then go back, I guess, to enroll.
This seems pretty complicated just to show that someone has a valid CPR card or MANT certificate, whereas on track you just uploaded this certification, correct? Seems much more.
Correct. On track, all you had to do was go and create an item, but the problem with that was it wasn't really attached to anything. So if I ran a transcript, you probably think I'm locked up here on live. If I ran a transcript report for somebody, it wouldn't show anything in the on track, and we didn't have it coded right or sorted right or anything like that. So let me see.
So this is going to allow me to actually upload the document?
No, this won't. This will just allow you to.
I did that on track either. I don't think I did that with CDS. I think all I did was enter dates, and if we were asked as an agency to produce it, we had it to support the dates listed on track. Like, oh no, this is.
Okay, so I created this. If you want somebody to attend a class that hasn't been held yet, once you create it again, you get a link, you can copy it, you can send it to them in an email. I need you to register for this class. You don't have any content. I didn't choose. So you're going to have to go through this stuff. If you have content to put it in there, you can upload files, you can upload PowerPoint. You can take your PowerPoint and convert it into the SCORM file, which is what Relias runs on. So you can add a new session. So we'll add a session for, what's today? Today's the 17th. There we have an 8 to 9 a.m. training. It's a live event. You can choose a location. You can choose an instructor out of everybody who's coded as an instructor. You can set the maximum number of attendees. You can decide whether or not you want to allow a wait list. You can decide whether or not supervisory approval is required for a learner to enroll. You can have it open until the session start date, or you can create an enrollment window so you can only enroll from here to here. These are notes about the course for you, not necessarily that they would be seeing. And you can save all that. And then I have errors. There we go.
I'm probably going to have to get up at 3 or 4 in the morning to play around with this.
Yeah. Or stay up late.
It's a lot to take in.
Feel free to call.
Yeah, you're not going to get your number after this because I've been holding on to these files, like not wanting to file anything away because I'm afraid that I'm going to lose sight of the dates and all this. So
right.
Make sure everything's in.
So once you have scheduled your session, even if it's for today, then you go into the enrollment, you click the little blue person, and you should be able to find your staff in the drop down just like we did before. And you can enroll them. You can unenroll them. But you have to be an instructor to do this. So as a supervisor, you may not be able to do this. You may have to, send us an email so we can indicate that you're an instructor because this is an instructor function, so you won't be able to do it unless you have that box checked on your user profile. And it's no problem to check the box if that's what you want. So you find the people you want, you enroll them, or what I should have just done, here, we'll go back here and we will unenroll me. So if you need to unenroll somebody, you can do that. So we're going to go back to enrollment. So once you create it, if you want to mark them complete, you click, okay, why is my box gone? Maybe it didn't acknowledge that I'm not enrolled. So when you click on the enroll and record attendance button, you can put their grade in, and of course Leslie always gets 100, and then you can indicate the day that it was completed, and then you record attendance that way. So you have to create the event, and then you have to enroll everybody in it, but you can enroll and record attendance all at the same time. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
But for that, I don't have to be an instructor.
Yes, you do. You have to be an instructor to manipulate the training plans or the module list, I believe.
And that's to create all of this, but just to upload and put the date and all that.
Well, learners actually are supposed to be able to upload their own because
yeah,
I'm
in a perfect
in a perfect world.
Yeah.
Let me see what happens as a learner. Eventually. Well, that's exciting. Are you guys seeing that? My whole screen with just X's?
Yeah, that's the same thing, yep.
Leslie, one nice thing people can do is if you set up all your classes for the year, not only can you record they took it, but it will also remind them, just like when they have lessons due, it will remind them they have a class coming up.
supposed to, but do they get the reminders on their email, or do they get it on Relias?
Relias sends them an email. It treats it as a lesson.
Okay, so you can't get emails if you don't have a live email. So that's the only reason I asked. Okay, so you guys should be seeing my dashboard again. And I'm going to take myself back to learner. I hope. Here we go. There's my learner. So as a learner, they can do the licenses and certificates. They can add my license or certification. They get the same kind of screens. So I'm a general staff. I'm from Delaware. My license is for general staff. My total hours was 12. Oops.
But see, on their license certificate is where we need them to add MANT, Ukuru, LAM, CPR.
Okay, I'm writing that down too.
See, if not, what it's going to do on the report, it's going to say they were certified as a general staff on whatever date we put in.
Right.
That's why I was trying to identify what it was.
If you go through and create the live event, then you don't have to do this. They won't have to upload anything as long as you mark them complete. But they also have the ability to add stuff to their transcript.
But again, all they're adding is dates. There's no way for them to actually upload the certificate.
Right.
Yeah, see, that's why I'm sitting on all my CPRs, and I have them in a file. I'm in a folder. I have MANT in front of me. I have LAM. We've had classes in January, February, and March internally.
That must be quite uncomfortable.
Yeah, it is. It is. I'm trying to keep, make sure that I don't put them away, and then, it's a lot of staff to think about. And then, honestly, the chances of them doing this on their own, very, very slim.
Right, and if go in there and create the live event for yourself, like we just went through. Nope, you got to be an instructor.
Yeah.
See, I'm still getting used to that. So you make yourself the instructor, then you can go in and add your new class, which is right here, the one we added before. So then you can go in there and just enroll all of your folks, and then it'll be marked complete as Bancroft CPR on their transcript, and then you just hang on to the cards.
And I would be the only one seeing that? Or we see everything because you're...
all other providers not be able to see it because you will be the owner of it, I believe.
Okay. But I have to have submitted as to be an instructor in order to create all this. Okay.
Yes, and we check the box for anybody who wants to be an instructor, so that's not a problem. Okay. And I am going to go down here and make this not approved because I don't want people signing up for it. But yes, that's how you do it. You go in, you make yourself an instructor, go into the module list.
Instructor, module.
Okay. And then you are going to add a new module. It'll be a live event. And then you put in all the information. What kind of attendance or exam or whatever are they going to be required to take? Figure out all that stuff. When you're ready, you're going to click yes, it's approved for enrollment. And if you're not ready, just click no, and nobody will see it but the instructor. So if you are the instructor and somebody else is going to be entering the data, I know I said this before, but like if you have an administrative support person who's going to be entering the data, make them an instructor too, because then they'll be able to go in here and do this for you. If it's going to be you, then you don't have to worry about it. Yeah, and once you finish that, you just save it up and finish going through the tabs if you want to. If there's going to be a certificate if there's going to be content, but you have to save this first screen before you can proceed.
Leslie, can you go back one page? There was a requirements window.
Can I go back to the module list? Yes, I want to leave this page. So when I said new module,
Mm-hmm.
this
See
one?
the one that says requirement tracker? Yeah, what's that one?
That is probably something we're going to want to think about using. But I haven't learned enough about it yet to tell people that they need to use it. So let's check it out.
I just wonder whether this would be an easier way of getting it on their transcript.
They're testing this. Instructor is me. Yes, I'll save and go to enrollment. Okay, so if I want to enroll myself in it, let's see what happens. I guess the same kind of thing. So that might be what we want to use for live events. I'll have to check that out. I know that that's what that does, that tracks and makes sure that you're on target with what you're required to have, but I don't know enough about that to answer the question about should we use it or not.
Okay. All right, I'm going to mess around with this.
Looking for a volunteer. Yeah, to mess around with this. Where is my... There it is. Look at all these courses I took. I'm looking for my test thingy. I don't see my test thingy on
Go
here.
back one screen.
Go back one screen. Here? Is my test thingy on here? PQRS. Nope. All right, I will have to learn about that.
Okay.
But, and create your own live events as an organization, and you can enroll and complete your staff in those, and then it will be on their transcript. And then if anybody ever comes by and says, hey, I want to review all your training, then you can pull out your certificates or your looking for.
And it wouldn't interfere with a live event with DDDS, right? What I mean is sometimes we don't have a class internally that the state requires, so we'll send them to like Fox Run or to Thomas Collins or something, and automatically that'll fall in to this.
Mm-hmm.
So if I create a live event, it wouldn't crisscross with that, right? Because it's going to be labeled as Bancroft?
Right.
Wouldn't interfere, okay.
So that will be the direction, is if you're going to create a live event to name it after your organization, kind of like you used to do with OnTrack, like we were supposed to be doing with OnTrack.
Right.
So if
Leslie,
you call it go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt. Can you hit the little certificate thing and see what comes up underneath Bancroft CPR?
This?
Yep.
Yep.
You can. And there you go. You can print it, you can email it, you can download it.
What's it look like?
Yeah, what does it look like if we can see it?
Let's print it. See what happens. Here, I'll email it to myself. Let's just do it all. Maybe because I don't have any.
I think because it wasn't marked complete.
Oh man, you mean I have to go. I have to complete it. We don't have any certificates. I think that's why. There it is.
Oh.
So if I wanted it, there's my certificate.
Hmm.
And that's a template. We can put templates in there.
Yeah, because it should say, probably should say Red Cross or something, American Heart Association or whatever.
Mhm.
Well, if you call the live event Bancroft American Red Cross CPR and First Aid, then that's what it will say there.
Yeah. It will say that I completed it, so, and it'll have the training hours.
I'm wondering if somebody completed a live event with MANT, how that certificate looks like. It's supposed to come out of its entity. So if it's the MANT system, it should have that. What's his name?
Well, and they get a certificate from MANT, so I wouldn't encourage you to give them a duplicate certificate. As long as you're recording that they completed it in the MANT system, it is enough for you to go in here and just create the live event and mark it complete for them, because you can always go back to the MANT database and download that, right?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
For places that don't give another certificate, like Yukaru does not give you, like there's no database to put their names in, they just get their certificate from Yukaru. So for that, you may want to hang on to the copy and just, you know, again, you could put a live event, or the Yukaru instructor could put the live event in there, and then mark it all complete, and we will go and look at the transcript and we'll be able to see that they did complete that course.
Okay. All right.
I am going to do a little research if they can upload actual documents.
That would be nice.
I was under the impression that they could, and maybe I just don't know how to do it right now, so I will do a little research on that as well.
Okay.
Leslie, there's a chat question asking if they can go back and record courses already taken.
Absolutely. If they, like, if you did courses in January and you want to go back in and put them in there, you can do that if you're an instructor and have the ability. Absolutely, you can do that. If you want to put in a course that you know they took last year that they're going to be due for this year, if you have verification that they took it, you can put it in there. Make anything up, but like if you have somebody's MANT certificate from last June, you can put in that they had a live event last June that was a MANT certificate, and they'll know that they have it coming up this June. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah. So I can still
Questions that answer for you guys, things you want to see or I need to learn or anything? I mean, I know I have a long list of stuff I need to learn.
I might be reaching out one more time off call at some point to make sure I do this. Well, first I have to ask to be an instructor, so I guess I'll be shooting somebody an email.
Really, you know what?
It'll probably be Patrice and I.
I will do it right now, if you don't mind people looking at your stuff.
No, I don't care.
Oh, got an error.
All right. And I'm thinking Patrice Shipley, because she and I are the two in here that do this for everybody, so.
Okay. I'm looking for the supervisors at Bancroft.
That should only be two. There we go.
That is, and I'm going to go in here and I'm going to click that you're an instructor and I'm going to save it. And now you have the ability to create live events.
Yay.
I'm going to go back and fix Patrice, and then she'll have the ability to create live events.
So I can go to work and put all these dates in.
Yep. Sorry about that, but yeah.
Well, it's good. It's only March, so.
It is, and we have, they're cutting us, everybody, some slack on the electronic training until June. The one thing that you want to make sure of is that everybody is getting that pre-service and annual module done, because that's the PM46, PM5, client rights kind of stuff, bloodborne pathogens, and the social media HIPAA, which I think is pretty timely for all of our staff. So that one you want to make sure they're up to date on. So if you haven't assigned them that and they've not completed it in the last year, I would encourage you to assign that particular training plan to them. The rest of them, the continuing development training plans, are going to be in by the end of the month, but most of them, in fact all of them, are not in there yet. So they're not going to be called research anymore. They're going to be called continuing development, just so you guys know what to look for. But when they get put in, I will send an announcement to all the supervisors. If you guys have, your staff are going through any of these training plans and they come across a course that they said, this is just the dumbest thing and it's totally not relevant for my job, send us that kind of feedback, because the training plans are flexible. I mean, we can change them anytime. I had somebody tell me, actually I had a few people tell me that the quality improvement basics was not really appropriate for DSPs, that was more of a manager thing. So I took it out of there for DSPs. So I'm interested in all of your feedback about Relias in general and the courses specifically, because I want the training plans to be relevant for your staff. I don't want them to be a waste of time. Is there anybody who has any other questions? And you can always, we're gonna periodically keep doing these, Q&A sessions. Hopefully I'll have more answers than questions in the future. Again, I have a lot to learn about this system. I know a lot of us have a lot still to learn about it, and we're learning it together on the fly, which is not comfortable for everyone, and I appreciate that as well. So I'm going to open the mics again. If anybody has any questions, just shout them out. Everybody's unmuted. Anybody has a question, just yell it out.
Is there going to be a DAHAB subcommittee meeting anytime soon? I've seen supporter employment and Evo, but I haven't heard anything about DAHAB.
Okay, there is for new staff, and I'm going to put everybody back. Okay, if you go look in the training plans, there is actually 2 for day services, but they are for new hires. So we have community-based day, and we have facility-based day. Those are for new hires. We don't have the research modules in there yet, but they will be in there by the end of the month.
No. How there's subcommittees that are meeting, is there going to, I've heard about the other committees having meetings, in the past few weeks or upcoming, but I haven't heard anything about DAHAB subcommittee or facility.
And that is because I have not had anybody volunteer to be on the committee. If you would like to head up that committee or be the committee or submit a recommendation for what should be in those training plans, any of those will work. What I have told people is that, my goal is to get the training plans in there by the end of March. I can tell you that they won't be perfect. I can tell you that there's going to be some stuff in there that your staff are going to go, this is stupid and doesn't relate to me and I don't need to know this. And there's going to be some stuff in there that they're going to say, wow, that's really great. I never knew that. I wish I could learn more about that. So we can change the training plans, but they will be in there by the end of March, imperfect as they may be. So I am looking for feedback. I am looking for recommendations. If you have a recommendation that you want to suggest for the DAHAB training plans, I'm totally open to that.
Okay. Will do.
And if yours is the only recommendation that I get, then that might be what the training plan looks like starting out.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay? So if you know some other people in DayHabs that you all want to get together and come up with a training plan, that would be awesome. And that would benefit everyone. So we do have a multi-provider subcommittee looking at employment, and we have a multi-provider subcommittee looking at residential. So DayHab has not, nobody has stepped up and said, yes, we will be the committee. So if you want to be it, you're it.
All right. Well, if anybody else would like to join, my name is Carolyn Mann, M-A-N-N. I'm from Easter Street. My email is cman@esdel.org. I'll head up the committee.
Okay, awesome. I will send out a call for volunteers to the other members of our committee. And is it okay if I give them your email?
Yes, of course.
Okay. I'm writing it down so I don't forget. So as I said earlier, I'm going to have to come up with some more job codes just to differentiate the different kinds of DSPs that do different jobs. So we have the DSP community-based and facility-based and then residential, but they're all coded as DSPs, so they're going to have something extra added to that that tells us what kind of service they provide, so we'll know what kind of training they need. Okay, anybody have any other questions? I'm going to unmute everybody again for a minute. You are all unmuted. So if you have a question, just shout it out.
I have a question. It's Yada. So if Bancroft creates, upload a CPR training for one of their employees and that employee is a sure learner, will we be able to see it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll show up on their transcript, and anybody who shares that learner will be able to see it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And if you can't see it, let me know, because it might mean something needs to be fixed.
Okay, okay.
But if your staff is telling you, yes, I took my CPR with Bancroft, and yes, Bancroft put it on my transcript, and you can't see it, then send us an email.
Okay.
You just got to give me time. You just got to give Bancroft time to do it because I'm it. That's it. So just give me some days.
Okay.
I know that feels. All right. Are there any other questions from the audience?
No, just one comment for the Bancroft. I'm sorry, I forget your name.
Norma.
Once you set up Bancroft like CPR and Bancroft Mant, you don't have to keep doing it. You can just save it and go in and change the date for the next class.
Oh, okay. Did you just mess around with that?
Yeah, I've been playing with it for a while. With the system.
Cool, okay. So it'll just be titled Bancroft Man or Bancroft CPR, things like that.
Right.
Yeah, you just have to make sure you save the live event as a live event, and then you can just go in and change the date for the next time you do it.
Okay, I got to remember to do that.
I want to show you guys one other thing. Work. See. Take out the word training in the link and put in the word sandbox, and you can log in to the sandbox. I stuff out without actually messing up anything in the system. That's something that I just learned. So you're in the sandbox. You can go in there and mess around as much as you want to practice or to. Somebody asked that a while ago, and I can actually send this out to you guys. I will send it out. Actually, let's see. Where is my chat? I'll send it to you guys. All right. I can't find my chat. So I will definitely send that to you guys, though. The link to the sandbox so that you can go in there and try stuff out and not have to worry about anything in the system for anything else. So. Questions, problems, issues, comments?
Someone types very quickly.
I was thinking
overload.
Thinking that was like wind, like we're in the car with somebody. All right, so any other questions, comments, concerns? Before I let you all go, everybody is unmuted again, so you can just shout out if you have questions. Seeing a whole bunch of stuff in chat, so let me go look at the chat because I did promise. Email, okay, I'm going to check into the email reminders for the classes. Yes, I need to know which people in your organization are intended to get the reports for learners so we can set that up. And if you want, you can send me an email and just say, hey, set up this person to receive all notices for our organization, or we can work together and just figure out how to set it up. I'm looking into the reports, and as soon as I have more information about reports, I will share it with you guys. Talked about signing people up for more than one person up for a course, so I showed you how to do that. Talked about adding CPR, MANT, and LAM. If it's a DDDS course, we are going to do it when we schedule the live event. After we hold the live event, we take this sign-in sheet and we go down and we check off everybody who attended, and they are marked complete, so that will show up on their transcript. And that is all that they need. You don't necessarily have to upload a certificate if it's a DDDS course, because we know that we taught it.
Does that mean the staff don't have to give us a copy?
For a DDDS course, no.
Because I had a few that went to MANT, and I'm waiting still for a couple of weeks now, because it's supposed to be emailed to them, so I don't have to really worry about that and not having
Was that February 25th and 26th?
Yes.
Okay. We had a little problem with that class. There were some people who wrote down their email addresses, and I think we misinterpreted them. So if they didn't get their certificate, send an email to the mailbox, the OPD mailbox, and Greg will check into it.
I'll send you who I sent over.
He's the one who enters the MANT certificates for DDDS. We teach a course. So, and I know for a fact that there were a couple people that, like, their email looked like it was a Z, but really it was a 2, and so they didn't get their certificate because the email was not entered correctly. So anytime that happens for any class. Although I do wish that, I think that we need to develop, DDDS needs to develop some guidelines around our in-person courses and how long it's going to take us to get the information into Relias. Because if it takes us 7 days, but you have SIE coming out 3 days after a class wanting to know where your certificate is, that's a problem for you guys, and I don't want to be a problem for you guys. So we are going to develop some guidelines around that, so you will know that when you go to a DDDS course, or one of your staff goes, that it will be, 5 to 7 days or 7 to 10 days or whatever is reasonable after the course that we have the information in there, that we are responsible for having the information in there.
So,
Leslie, if the person attended a live event at DDS and the instructors marked complete it, it would show up in their transcript right away, so you didn't have to wait for the certificate to prove they were there.
Right, but sometimes when they come to a DDDS live course, the instructor hands the sign-in sheet off to Greg, and then Greg has to enter it, so it doesn't always happen right after the class. And that's what I'm saying. We need to develop a timeline so that we know we are responsible to get it in there within 5 business days from the date of the class.
Yeah, it's just that you wouldn't have to worry about the email address and all. I know you do that to send the certificate, but for it to be on their transcript, it would show up.
Correct. That is exactly right, and I misinterpreted, so thank you for clarifying that.
So I got something from Relias for the 3 folks that went. It says event attendance notification for supervisors, and it has the folks that went to the MANT. It's the actual certificate that they're supposed to have. So if the state came and I showed them this is sufficient? I don't have to have a certificate in front of me?
If it's a DDDS taught course, yes, because we will be able to verify the certificate for them.
Okay.
So if they say, where's the certificate, you can say DDDS can look that up. And they won't like hearing that answer, but, you know, why guys hang on to it?
Well, it would also be in the person's transcript, too.
Yes. If DDS marks it complete, we are assuming that Greg is a very honest gentleman, and he would only mark it complete if people were really there.
So would that automatically, because it's being entered on that end, you know how they have like a reminder? Would I have to go in there now and put down like, hey, 8-week reminder for next year? You know, do I do that, or is that going to automatically happen based, because it says Greg Sweeney. I know Greg did it. I have it in front of me. I'm looking at it.
If we have set up requirements tracker, then I think it would remind them that they have to, but we don't have that set up yet, so they should think about, when do I need to take my next certification?
Yeah, because I'm thinking I probably have to go back into the names and set those parameters, I guess. Because they took it on the 25th. I think it's the 25th, 26th, or the 24th, 25th, or something like that. It was a 2-day man. Huh. Okay.
So it should already be on their transcript. If it was marked complete already. But like I said, we had some trouble with that class because of inaccurate emails. So people didn't get their certificates from MANT, even though we marked them complete on the computer.
It says attended, and it came through with Relias.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other thing is, if you go into a report and choose MANT as the module, you can run a report on just everyone in your agency that took MANT with the state.
There you go, and then you'll have a documentation of who's due when.
Okay.
And as I said, you know, we're all still figuring this out. I appreciate everybody and their enthusiasm for learning all this stuff. I know that it's not something that we wanted to have to do, switch over to a whole new system, but I think once the dust settles and we learn how to do what we need to do and I get the automation set up, I think it's going to be a lot easier for all of us. There's still going to be some issues, but I think it'll be a lot easier for all of us. Okay, last call for questions. Anybody? Comments? Anything?
Thanks, Leslie.
Thank you, Leslie.
Thank you.
And we will keep doing these periodically, so if you feel like we need one, just give me a shout and we'll schedule something.
All righty. All right, thank you.
Stay safe, don't touch your face, and wash your hands.
You too.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.